Hello everyone. So we will be doing lab assignment that will be focused on creation of the dynamic web application as per the given AWS architecture. So we will host our application using S3 bucket, and the website from the website API call will be generated, and that call will be processed by the Lambda function, and finally the information will be saved in the DynamoDB table. So there are various steps we need to follow. So first you need to log into your AWS account. Then you need to create S3 bucket first, and in this bucket we will create two type of file. So the two type of index page or HTML page you can call HTML.index and error.index page. So whenever you will launch your website, so if everything will be fine, in that case index.html page will open. If there will be some problem, then error.html page will open. So first we will create one S3 bucket. Inside the bucket we will upload these two objects, and we will allow these two objects to be publicly accessible. Then we will do one configuration inside the S3 bucket where we will allow launching of the website on this bucket. Then we will copy the ARN that is generated for the static website hosting, and we will see once you will copy the ARN and paste in the web page in the URL link, then it will open one HTML page for you. Now we will create one Lambda function, and in that Lambda function we will create a function to store you can say to copy the thing or to save the thing in the DynamoDB table. Now we will create one API gateway to make an API call, and we will create one REST API, and we will do some changes there in the API gateway also. Then after that we will create one DynamoDB table, and in that table we will save the value that is entered on the web page. And finally we need to do some kind of setting in the IAM role and in the Lambda functions permission also, so that we will do. So like this, these are some steps we need to follow for today's lab assignment. So these are some files that we will be needed to upload in S3 bucket. So first you can see here there is one index page. So this one is index.html page. I want to open it with Notepad. So you can see here I have not written anything. I have written only hello world inside this index page. Now go to this error page. Here only I have written error occurred, nothing else. So like this, these two files we will upload in S3 bucket first. Then we will change the index page by writing some CSS command, and we will create button and text tool and something like that later on. So first step is to upload index.error page, index.html and error.html page. So I'm just going to AWS console window. Here we will go to S3 service, and in S3 service we will create one bucket. So bucket name should be unique and it should be alphanumeric, but the alphabet should be in small case. So I'm creating my bucket in Mumbai region. You can create in any region whatever you want to create. Now I'm just allowing this bucket to be accessed from anyone who have access right. So I made it ACL enabled. Now I'm allowing public access to the bucket. So this block all public access will be unticked here. Now I need to acknowledge it. And bucket versioning, I am just keeping it disabled. and encryption will be default one. So like this, I will create one bucket. Now inside the bucket, I will upload two objects that I showed. So I'll upload these two files. Okay, so these two files are uploaded inside the bucket, but these two objects are not publicly accessible. If you want to check it, you can use the URL and try to open it. You will not be able to open it right now. Why? Because public access is not given to this file. So what I want to do right now, I want to make this object as public. So make this bucket object as public. Now refresh this page, you will be able to open it. Okay, similarly I need to make publicly accessible to the other bucket object also, that is index.html page. So like this one is also publicly accessible. Okay, so these two files are publicly accessible, but I have not configured the static website hosting for this bucket. Just go to the bucket and in the properties section, I will go down and you can see here static website hosting option is available. It is right now disabled. I need to make it enable. So just go to edit button here and make it enable. So once you will make it enable, so one ARN will be generated. So I want to host a static website, so I will go and check that option. And after this one, I need to provide what kind of document you will supplement for this website. So I need to write index.html. At least one HTML page you need to provide. So index.html, error.html page is optional, but I am writing that also because we have that page available. Now after this one, I will save changes. So now static website hosting option is enabled for us. Now I'll copy the ARN, right? This one is the ARN for this bucket website. So I'm just copying this ARN and try to open it here in the search bar. So you can see here, hey, hello world page is open. If there will be some problem, in that case error page will open. I'll copy this ARN and will note down in the notepad. Okay, so if you see the document, so we have followed all the steps of task 1. Now going to the creation of the Lambda function, and I have Python code for the Lambda function. I'll show you and I'll copy that also in the description box. So what I'll do, I'll create one Lambda function. So right now no function is created, so I'm just going to create one Lambda function. I want to create this function from scratch. So I'm providing name as hello world function. And for runtime environment, I will use Python. Architecture will be x86. So here in the role, I will create a new role with basic Lambda permission and I'll change it later on. So I'm keeping this as selected here. Now after that, if you go to additional setting, so there is like some function of code signing, function URL. So I'm not going to activate anything. I'm going to create this function. So one function is created, successfully created. Now I need to write some code here, and I need to deploy the code by creating one test environment. So I'm just going to open code here. So you can see here one Python code is written. So you can see here I have imported JSON file here. Boto3 is a SDK that is used to access Python code, and then we can import two other packages for time, and we can create a DynamoDB table also, but I'll show it later on. One Lambda handler will be called, and in that handler I will pass first name and last name, and that will be printed later on. I'm just running this basic Lambda function code to provide, after providing first name and last name, right? And I just want to print hello from Lambda and the name that I'm providing through the test environment. So I'm just going to copy the complete code from here, and I'll paste it in that here AWS console window. So I paste it here, and I need to create one test environment where I will provide value for this first name and the last name. So I'm just going to, so I have written code here, but I have not deployed here, right, this code. So if you have not deployed, anything will not work. So I need to deploy this one, and everything will be fine. So in that case, successfully it will be updated. Now I need to configure one test environment to provide the value that I want to provide here. So I need to create one test environment. So I'm just writing name as test event, and here for the first name I will provide value, and for the last name I'm providing value. So only two value I need to take. So this test case I need to remove from here. I need to save this environment. Okay, now I need to run this test environment to check whether this code will run properly or not. So you can see here I'm just getting response, and it is saying your code is successfully run, and I'm getting the message also hello from Lambda Suchi Singh. So the first name and last name I provided in the test environment, it is showing here, means my function is running perfectly fine. Okay, now I need to use something else, right? If you see this file, you can see I need to create one API gateway. Okay, so I'm just going to create one API gateway now. Go and right here API gateway will open. So here you can see multiple option of API type selection is there. We need to create REST API and the public one, not the private one. So go and build this API gateway. So here I'm just selecting REST API. I am just creating this API, new API. In API name, you can provide anything. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just copying the name that is provided here. And Description, it is optional. And if you go to endpoint type, so I'm selecting edge optimized, means this API may be called from anywhere that is nearest to your edge location, right? Regional means from the specific region where this API is made, call or like bucket is kept, call will be made from that region only. And private means you any publicly access of this API gateway is not allowed. So I'm just going to edge optimized and I'll create API. Once you create API, you need to go to action part and you need to create method or resources. So I'll go to create method first. So what kind of method I need? I want to post something on the website. So I need to go to create post method here. And for this method will be integrated with Lambda function or HTTP, mob, AWS service or VPC link. So this method will be connected to Lambda function and the Lambda region will be AP South1. Now Lambda function name I need to provide. So when you write H here, you will see hello word function is coming. Now I need to save this one. Okay, now after this one, what I need to do? I need to go to action part. I need to enable cross region access of this resources, right? Method. I need not to do anything, just enable it. Okay, so this one is done. Now I will deploy API here. So deployment stage will be new stage and stage name I am writing here as development. Now you can see this URL is generated. Now I need to test whether this URL or API gateway URL will work fine or not. For that purpose, I'm using Postman service. So you can also use the same, or you have something else, so you can use that also. So I'm just going to write here Postman. So you need to create a free account there and the Postman service I have already created, so it will by default open here. Now you can see this one is my workspace. So I need to go to my workspace. I will write and go here, new HTTP request. Here I need to paste the URL that is generated here. So I'm just copying the URL here and I want to save this also. Now I'll copy this URL and I'll paste here. And this URL I have created for posting something. So I need to go and I'll write here, go to the post function here, not get function. Now after that, this one, I need to provide one test case here also. So just go here to the body of this one and provide a raw data. And here and you need to provide same raw data that we provided here for so I'm just going to this function. I'll go to test environment. So I will copy this thing, right? And I'll change the name. You can provide any name here. So now I will send this one. So you can see here everything is fine. This URL is working fine, and I'm getting the response also. Hello from Lambda. First name is API, second name is assignment. So that means my API call will be made once we will make a call from the website. Now we have done the third task. Now coming to the fourth task, where we will be creating DynamoDB table, and the name of the table will be DynamoDB database. So I'm copying the name here. I'm just writing here I will create table and name whatever I have copied, I'll paste it here. And partition key type will be ID, and the data type will be string type. And I don't do any other setting here, and I'll create table. And after that creation of the table, I'll copy the ARN of this table. So you can see here my table is created. Once you click on the table, you scroll down, you will get the ARN. So if you go to additional info, you will see the ARN. Copy this ARN, it will be required later on. Okay, so we have done till here. Now go to the created Lambda function and change the IAM role and policy for the Lambda function, right? So what I'll do, I'll go to Lambda function, and here I'll go to configuration part, I'll go to permission part, I'll open the role here, and I'll change the role. So whatever default role it was assigned earlier, now I need to change it. I will add one inline policy here in the permission in the role. So I will add more permission here, and I'll create one inline policy, attach one inline policy. So what role will be added in the inline policy? So you can see here I have written one policy. Here you need to write complete thing, and Lambda function will be triggered or called, and the data will be saved in the table that you created, right? So here I need to provide ARN of the table. So just go here and copy the ARN of the table and paste it here. And copy the complete command from here and go to JSON here and paste it. Okay, now I'll save the permission that we have done. So I need to provide policy name here. So I'm just writing the same policy name. So here you can see here for the specified table, read write permission is assigned. Now the policy is changed. For this Lambda function, you can see one inline policy is added with this normal policy. So we have done till here. Now after this one, I will update the function Python code that is written there, right? And if you see the Python code, earlier code, in this code, I'm just creating a DynamoDB object using AWS SDK and calling that, right? And now inside this handler, I am providing whatever name is provided, that name will be reflecting or saved in the table, right? So I'm just going to copy the complete command from here and I'll update in the Lambda function here. Okay, so I'm just going to Lambda function and I'll copy the complete code, updated code, because at that time table was not available. Now you can see this one is my table name and complete code is given here. Okay, so now I'll deploy the changes and I'll test this. So you can see everything is fine. Okay, so I need to check whether it is saved in the DynamoDB table or not, right? So just go to the table, because I have made a function Lambda call here, and now it should be saved here inside the table also. So if you go there downside, go and explore table item. Okay, now run this one. So whatever value it was provided, you can see here it is coming here. So just saying at this time it was provided in the table. So because we have made a function Lambda function call and provided name, this one, this name at this time, so it is saved in the table. Now we will provide this entry through API call from the website, not from the normal call. This one is hard code entry I am making with this function call, but now we will associate this table with API gateway. So how we will do that? Now you can see here, I will upload this. Okay, so if you just check this Word document, so we have done till here. Okay, now we will go to the created S3. Now we will go to the S3 bucket and we will upload the index.html page with some modification. So just go and open this index.html page. So in this HTML page, we have done some styling, and title will appear as Hello World, and in the body part, color of the button and text box is defined here. Now one API call function is made here where I'm providing first name and last name from the website itself. And here one thing you need to do here, you need to provide the URL of the API URL, right? So we have already saved that. So just go and copy that URL and paste it here. This one, API URL. Because API call will be made from the website and it should be successfully executing. So I'm pasting it here. Now nothing else, we need not to do any changes. So I'm saving this one and now I'll upload this file. So I'm going to S3 bucket. And I'll I'll replace the previous index file with this one. So either you can directly replace or you can delete the first one and then upload the second one. So if I'm uploading the second one, it will replace the first one, so no problem. So I'm just going to index dot and I will make it public here only. We'll leave this. I'm uploading here once and I'll make it public later on. So now I'm just making this index.html page at public because it will not be public, right? Now when you will copy the URL, website hosting URL, this one, and pasting in this window, this index.html page got open because we have changed that. I'm just calling. So once you are calling, one pop-up window will appear and this is showing this message will be saved in the DynamoDB table. Hello from Lambda, Suchi API. So I'm just click on OK message, OK button here. Now I'll go to this DynamoDB table. Earlier there was one entry here. Now I'll run this again and you have seen here second entry got appeared here. Similarly, I'll go to my web page and I'll make another call and I'm writing here XYZ ABC, anything you can write here, and I'm making one call again, right? So this value must be stored in the DynamoDB table. You can see XYZ ABC is stored here. So like this, all the entry that you will make through the web page will be saved in the DynamoDB table. So here S3 bucket is behaving like a source and DynamoDB table is behaving like a sink. So call is made from S3 bucket and data is saved in the DynamoDB table through this Lambda function call, and API call is made and to the Lambda function, and Lambda function will be saving the data in DynamoDB table. So like this it is working. So that's all about website hosting in S3 bucket.